So Sangat Ji, later on this week, there will be the celebration of Adi Granth Sahib Pehla Prakash. And to celebrate Pehla Prakash, we're today singing shabads about devotion. And you may say that, what is the link? Why are we singing about devotion when we're celebrating that day when Guru Arjan Dev Ji, Sache Paatshah Ji, took Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Paatshah Ji Maharaj Ji upon their cease, upon the blessed head of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj Ji? They walk over from Raamsar Sahib, where Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah Ji spent 2 years compiling Adi Granth Sahib Ji, which took place, Sangat Ji, a period of 2 years Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah Ji spent in 1602 from 1604. But Sangat Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji, during their lifetime, they travelled and they gathered the words and they gathered the Bani of these beautiful Bhagats, these devotees. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji travelled far and wide, and they went with their own hands, collected those words that Bhagat Kabir Ji had said. Those words where Bhagat Kabir Ji told the world that people laugh at my caste. This says, Kabir meri jaat ko, sabko hasne haar, balhari is jaat ko jeh japyo sirjanhar. But Bhagat Kabir Ji said that I am a sacrifice to this jaat, to this caste, this family that I have been born into, because I've been able to devote myself to Vaheguru. Sangat Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji went and compiled, went and gathered that Bani of Bhagat Kabir Ji, Bhagat Namdev Ji. So today, Sangat Ji, because our Gurus put their words within Guru Granth Sahib Ji for us to bow before. So today, Sangat Ji, let's sing the Bani of Bhagat Kabir Ji about what? About these very words that we just sang, that Bole Pae Mile Raghu Raya. Where Bhagat Ji is saying that Bole Pae, this is what it takes. And Sangat Ji, let's be honest with ourselves. How many of us sitting here get our minds into a right pickle because we think we've got to be perfect? Everything has to be in place. And we are so hard upon ourselves because we think that we have to get everything right to the T. If somebody's going to take and make thal for Guru Granth Sahib Ji, somebody thinks in their mind, the Ardaas needs to be done exactly like this. It needs to be taken to Maharaj Ji in this way. We can't make the food in this way. Oh, we've done it wrong. We've got it wrong. I've made a mess. I didn't pronounce my Gurbani, my Bhaat properly. I'm making a mess of this. I'm no good. I shouldn't even be doing it because I can't read Gurbani properly. And then we spend most of our lives cursing ourselves, doing that to ourselves and saying that, you know what? What's the point? I'm no good, I can't recite Gurbani properly. But there's Bhagat Kabir Ji saying that Bole Pae Mile Raghu Raya. Some people say to me, I need to learn more, I need to know more. The only thing that we truly need to know is devotion. And that's why Bhagat Kabir Ji said it's your innocence and that pyar And that's why then Bhagat Kabir Ji says, let me tell you a story of somebody. And if you listen to this story, you'll come to realize what it really takes for us to form that relationship with our Guru and Vaheguru. So I'm going to share a story with you that Bhagat Kabir Ji tells. But before I share that story, I want to ask the Sangat sitting here a question. How many of you sitting here, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't have that level of fear of wanting to do and get things right, but how many of you sitting here have held back or have ended up cursing yourselves and being so hard on yourselves and saying to yourselves that, you know what, I'm no good, I'm always getting it wrong, I don't know how to do this, I'm reciting Gurbani wrong, I'm doing this wrong, I don't know how to do it, I'm no good. Who's ever done that? I'm not good enough. Look, there's a lot of us here that put our hands up. And look what we put our energy into. We spend more time telling ourselves that we're not good enough instead of trying to find devotion in our hearts, which was what is going to take us to our Guru and Vaheguru. Bhagat Kabir Ji kende, look, Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Har aradhana janna re. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, you talk to me about meditation. Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, I don't know how to meditate. How many people have sat here thinking, am I saying Vaheguru right? Is there a perfect technique that I need to do? Does my stomach or my breath need to be in this perfect? Look, don't get me wrong, these things have a part and they play a part. And they can aid us to an extent to help us to be more focused. I'm not saying, of course, all of these things play a part. But to say, is there a perfect way? Am I saying the word Vaheguru wrong? Guru Arjan Dev Ji said, Har aradhana jana. I don't know how to meditate. Somebody went to Guru Arjan Dev Ji, says, Keme kari diya? Bhakti meditation, keme kari? They would not have used the word meditation. Dhyan keme laida? Aradhana keme us Parmeshwar no? Kende menu ta pata nahi. And then they said to Guru Arjan Dev Ji, then, fir tusi keme kita? Then what did you do? How did you get to this place? Kende bas har har gur gur karta re. They had the right ingredients from inside. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਭੋਲਾਪਣ ਸੀਗਾ ਅਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਅਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਭੁੱਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ Guru Arjan Dev Ji is talking about that having that innocence from inside, that many of us forget about that devotion which is really what matters. They said har har gur gur karta re, that's all I did. I didn't know how to say, I didn't know how to meditate. I just started saying har, har. I just started calling out to Vaheguru. मैं बस उन्होंने अंदरों पुकारिया. नानका प्रियो प्रियो कर पुकारे. Guru Nanak Dev Ji said that I just sat there. उन्होंने दी माँ कहती, नानक तू बस कर हुण. Why don't you just stop? कहते नहीं मैनू प्यास लगी है, मैं किवें हटा? How can I stop? I'm thirsty. Just like that bird, I need that drop of water. I need the darshan of Vaheguru. Even if it's just for one moment, Nahanka, Priyo, Priyo, Kar Pukare from inside and just keep crying out and say, Priyo, Priyo, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Priyo, Priyo, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. Har aradhana janna re, har gur gur karta re. संगत जी एक बार ना ਅਸੀਂ बैठे सी ਗਿਆਨੀ ਕੁਲਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਲੁਧਿਆਣੇ ਵਾਲੇ. The first time Giani ji came to England, it was probably back in around 2014, and we took Giani ji for prashada to somebody's house. Giani ji is very simple. They only wear dress in white. They only wear cotton. They wear different colored dastaran, but they only wear white kurte. Very simple living, simple jivan. They're very conscious about how they eat, what they eat. And when we went to this house, somebody, the Shardalu there, the devotee there, had made some cinnamon cake. And we were all scared to ask Giani Ji if they would eat it, because we thought this is a bit fancy. And we said to Giani Ji, Giani Ji, kya hunda? So it got really deep voice. We go, nahi Giani Ji, mithaya. They go, chal, acha, kiya paya vich? He's like, what's in it? And then we all panicked. He's like, oh, cinnamon cake. And we was like trying to work out, oh, cinnamon ki hunda, cinnamon ki hunda. And they looked at the person that had made it. Generally, they wouldn't eat that type of food. They looked at the person that had made it. What did Giani Ji see on that person's face that had made it? They saw they saw that innocence on that person's face. They looked over. They said, has this person made it? And we said, Hanji, yes. And we was there trying to work out. We was trying to, like, we all went blank. We was like, cinnamon ki hunda, cinnamon ki hunda. I've gone blank now. What's cinnamon again? Dalchini hamara kya. So, Giani Ji kehde koi nahi rehn do, main dasda tanu. I'll tell you. They had a piece of that cake. Sangat Ji, and it wasn't that they were interested in that cake. They were looking at the person's face that had made it with that innocence and love. Pole pae. This person, she didn't know how to get it perfect. She didn't know exactly what dishes to bring the food in. She didn't know if Giani Ji would eat that. But they saw her face and they took it. They took a bite from it. And Sangat Ji, Mahapurukhs never talk empty. They don't use their breaths ever empty. To the point when we would be traveling in the car with them, and then myself and other Gursikhs would be chatting away in the back. They say, "Chup nahi kar hunda tade kol. Chup karke bhi beh jaya karo." They'd say, learn how to sit in silence. They didn't speak much. So Sangat Ji fe hoya ki. They take a bite of this cake. And they said, "Main tanu dasda aa ede vich ki a." Kende eh kende swad a swad. Eh kende ras nal bharya paya a. They said it's tasty and it's flowing with the juice of love. Kende suno ek gal meri. Kende listen to this one thing. Kende meri ek gal suno. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਿਸ ਦਿਨ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਵਾਦ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੀਆਂ ਲੜਾਈਆਂ ਬੰਦ ਹੋ ਜਣੀਆਂ ਆ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੜਨਾ ਕਿ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਿੱਦਣ ਸਵਾਦ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਫਿਰ ਕੋਈ ਫਰਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕੋਈ ਫਰਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਰ ਆਰਾਧਨਾ ਜਾਨਾ ਰੇ ਹਰ ਹਰ ਗੁਰ ਗੁਰ ਕਰਤਾ ਰੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ with that innocence when you can taste that love for Vaheguru, when you're calling out Nanaka, Preo, Preo, they said it doesn't matter. When you have that sublime taste from inside, it doesn't matter if you're saying it Vaheguru. They said it doesn't matter if you're just saying Vaheguru. It's about your innocence from inside. The more we're trying to be perfect and technical and get it all right, just the more we get stuck. We're here to let go. Bhagat Kabir Ji said, let me tell you a story of this exact scenario. Sangat Ji, many of you now of this generation, when I say this generation, I'm referring to probably the generation slightly younger than myself. So those of you that now probably in your 20s and 30s, put your hands up if you're between that age, 20 and 30. Okay, it's more just sings. No, Bibbiyan between 20 and 30. Okay, there's plus 30. Yeah. All right, plus 40. All right, below 20. Sangat Ji, okay, so who's heard of Krishan Ji? Who's heard of Krishan Ji? Okay, who's not heard of Krishna Ji? Alright. Sangat Ji, so just in the way we've got here in Kaljug the savory of Kalatar and Guru Nanak Aya, the savory of Kalyug is Guru Nanak Dev Ji. In that same way, Sangat Ji, in Duapur Yuga, the age before this one, before Kalyug, there is Krishna Ji. Krishna Ji came to save the people of that time. He was the Avtar of that time. And when he came, during that time, I'm going to just give you a very quick background because I know when I say these names, most of you won't be able to relate to them. Very simply put, there was two families that had a feud. One family, very righteous, 5 brothers, the Pandavas. Who's heard of the Pandavas? Who's heard of Arjuna, the great archer? Yudhishthir, who is said to be the embodiment of righteousness. Who's heard of Bhim, the Gadagari, who is known to be the master of the mace with spikes? He said, have we got any Bhims in the house? Bhim was huge and big, and one thing he loved. What did he love? Shout out. Food. There you go. Yes, the boys here, sitting here, they've watched all of Mahabharat. So think, Tegbir, when he watched it, is Tegbir here? He's not here. So Tegbir, I think he was probably about 7, Bhagat was about 5 when they watched all of Mahabharat. So they remember that Bhim was a huge fan of food. Who's a foodie here in the house? In the Darbar, sorry. Sangat Ji. So there's the righteous brothers, these, you know. And then on the other side you've got Duryodhan, who represented the side of unrighteousness, the side of arrogance, the side of power, the side of who thought that they were perfect, had all the riches, could do everything perfect and right. Just before the Mahabharata Jung, the battle was to commence. Who's heard of the Bhagavad Gita? Who's heard of the Gita? The Gita was recited by Krishna Ji, Krishna Maharaj, on the battlefield before these families were going to go into battle. Krishna Ji gave this Gyan to Arjuna about this creation, about attachment, about true love, about what life really is. But first, before the battle, they tried to resolve the disputes in some form of way. So Krishna Ji goes to the palace of Duryodhan. Duryodhan is the one that is unrighteous. That side that is there wanting to battle, wanting to take over out of arrogance, out of power. So Sangat Ji, Krishna Ji has been invited to their palace to try and resolve some of these issues. But Sangat Ji, there's somebody called Vidur or Vidur. So Sangat Ji, have you heard of that name, Vidur? Who's heard of that name, Vidur? Right, Bhagat, yeah, Bhagat's heard of Vidur. Santok's heard of Vidur. Sangat Ji, Vidur was a son of a maid. He lived in a simple home. He came from a background of poverty. His mother was a maid. But Sangat Ji, he was very wise. So he used to be one of the advisories to the king. And Sangat Ji, I know this is a lot of detail, but we're getting to the point. And I know that without giving you any background, I would have just lost everyone completely. So Sangat Ji, he lives in this simple home, in this little hut outside of the palace. Even though he's an advisory to the king, but because of his caste being born to a maid, he's not allowed to have access to these riches and to the palace. He lives with simple food. And I know some of you here might be saag lovers. Who's a saag lover here? So Sangat Ji, back in those days, saag was known as the food of the poor. Somebody that gathered some green leaves and uno rej ke ren ke uno khana. Sanjipe, he had something very special. So Sangaji, this is the shabad that we're going to sing now. I want you to put yourselves into this place now. Think about where you get stuck in your heads, trying to be those perfect ones. And I know it's a slightly different context, but I want you to understand this in where we end up putting ourselves. So Duryodhan, he's the king of the sun. He said it's a no-brainer. Obviously Krishan, who's the Avtar, the avatar of that time, of course he's going to come and stay in our palace and have our food. Have this rice pudding that is made with ghee that is so rich. Any kheer fans out there? Kheer fans? Kheer fans. I don't know what's happening with the Bibiyan today. They either just can't be asked to put their hands up, too hot, even though they're sitting by the windows, or they just can't stand kheer. So what is it? Are you hot? You just don't like kheer. Just don't like kheer. All right. That's fair. So, Duryodhan Sangaji, he's got everything set perfect. He's got the perfect dishes, the brand new dishes. It's the avatar of that time. It's like Guru Nanak coming to your house. So he's saying to Krishan, when you come to try and resolve this dispute, of course you're going to stay in our palace. But you know what Krishan Ji said? Bhagat Kabir Ji write about this. Krishan Ji said, Rajan, Kaun, Tumaarai, Aavai, it's in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Don't think I'm telling you stories outside of Gurmat. Just in case anybody was freaking out and thinking, "Eh sanu hor dharm vich leke challa a, itte problem pੈ jani a hun." Problem nahi ਪੈਣ ਲੱਗੀ, ਇਹ Guru Granth Sahib Ji ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ. Sangat Ji, there's a reason why our Guru wants us to know these stories, because what we can get out of these stories can get us into the laps of Vaheguru. Krishan Ji is saying to the ones that are trying to be all perfect, got everything right, that cleverness, that arrogance, saying, look, I know, I can do it right. And Sangat Ji, and sometimes this happens. Somebody, when sometimes there's a new Amritari on the block, you know, and then all of a sudden, within 2 weeks, their very own friends and Sangat they used to chill out with, they're saying, oh, look at the state of them. They can't even do their part properly. It doesn't take long to become judgmental, to start looking down on others. Sangat Ji, sometimes I've seen people, they've just given up drinking alcohol. It's been about 2 months. They're like, "Allah, tu to sharab hi nahi chhadundi." And they start judging others. Like, for God's sake, you've just joined this boat, jumped on. Kabir Ji said, "Ajo so nau samundar mein kya jana kya hoye." Listen to these words. Kabir garb na kijiye, rank na hasiye koe. They're saying, look, don't end up having that pride in you and start looking down on somebody else just because now you've become all religious and now you think you're so righteous and perfect, and now all of a sudden you think everybody is just no good. Oh, they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to get food ready for Maharaj right. And then Kabir Ji saying, Kabir, garb na kijiye, rank na hasiye koe. And Sangat Ji, doesn't take long to start laughing at somebody. Sangat Ji, the Mahaprabhu that we did Sangat with, we first got the darshan in 1997. Those Mahaprabhu now today are at the age of 89. Sant Baba Gurdev Singh Ji Nanaksar wale, Bhai Ki Samad wale Mahaprabhu. Somebody called Bhai Pritam Singh wrote a book about Babaji's Jeevani in the early 90s. Babaji said, get every copy of that book back off the stalls. Nobody is to praise me. And Baba Ji's Jeevan without a blemish, perfect. And Baba Ji said, get all those books back in, bring Pritam Singh here, and he got a right telling off. They said, Tu kaun hunda hai saadi sift likhan wala? Who are you to try and praise me and write a book about me? And they said, Baba Ji, but you're such a great Mahapurukh, just your darshan brings people into Sakhi and joins them to Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Can they know nobody is to write about me? They said, because ajo so no samundar mein kya jana kya hoye. They said, because until this life, I'm still in this world, this boat of this life. I don't know what can happen, when I can fall. Don't you praise me. I don't know when I'm gonna fall. Sangat Ji, before we think, before we laugh at somebody, you don't know what can still come for us in this life. Ajo ho so nau samundar mein kya jana kya hoye, hale ki pata sade nal ki hona pyareo. We don't know what's gonna happen with us yet. Sangat Ji, Rajan Kaun Tumaarai Aavai. There's Krishan Ji Maharaj saying, and Sangat Ji, I know some people take offense, which they have in the past. Why are you referring to somebody else other than our Gurus as Maharaj? Sangat Ji was the Avtar of that time, the love that Krishan Ji had for humanity and this. Sangat Ji, what can I say? They said to this so-called Duryodhan king that had this arrogance in his mind and thought he had the perfect way. Says Rajan Kaun Tumaarai Aavai. Sangat Ji, this second pangti, this Vidur, who is the son of a maid, the king of that time, the Avtar of that time, accordingly to their dharam, is not allowed to go and stay at the house of a low caste, so-called low caste person. But you know what Krishan Ji said? Kende aso pao Vidur ko dekhyo o garib mohe bhava. Krishan Ji said, aso pao Vidur ko dekhyo, the pao, the love that I've seen in Vidur Ji's heart. They said, oh garib, that one that lives in this poverty. Oh garib mohe bhave, he's the one that has won my heart over. Sangat Ji, the Guru is looking at your heart. The Guru is looking at your bhavana, at your devotion. The Guru is looking at your heart. The Guru is looking at your devotion, your innocence. The Guru sees nothing else. Sangat Ji, when you read Kavi Santokh Singh, he will write कि गुरु हरगोबिंद साहिब जी पात जी होर कुछ नहीं सी देखते, मेरे सिख दा बस केवल प्यार वेखदे सी, वो केवल सिख दा प्यार वेखदी सी प्यारियो. Let's sing these words. Krishan Ji saying, हस्ती देख परम ते भूला, श्री भगवान ना जानिया. Don't think that I'm gonna fall for these fancy elephants that you have in your home. Don't be in doubt that I'm going to fall for them. You have not known what God is. Sri Bhagwan na janya hamro doodh Vidur ko pano amrit karke manya. On that one side, yes, you're going to give me milk, but at Vidur's home I'm going to get water. But he said, let me tell you what I receive from Vidur's water is amrit karma manya. His water is nectar for me. Kheer saman saag mein paya gun gavt rehn bihani. Because when I went to Vidur's house, all we when I went to Vidur's house, he gave me saag. I didn't get no keerat, didn't get rice pudding. But we sat all night in the praise of God. ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਰਾਤ ਉਸ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਦੀ ਸਿਫਤ ਕੀਤੀ। You have the riches, but your heart is burning in jealousy. He doesn't have the riches, but his heart is filled with love, and he can sit all night and not moan about his life, and he doesn't play that victim card, but instead he sits in the praise of Vaheguru and says, Vah, thank you. Kabir ko Thakur anad vinodi jaat na kahu ki mani. The Guru is not looking at your perfection, the Guru is looking at your innocent heart. Let's sing this shabad and then let's see where Guru takes us.
Rajan kaun tumare aavai, 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 Rajan ऐसो पाओ भीतर को देखे ऐसो पाओ भीतर को देखे ऐसो भाव भीतर को देखे ऐसो भाव भीतर को देखे ओ गरीब मोहे भावे ओ गरीब मोहे भावे कौन तुम्हारे आवे, राजन कौन तुम्हारे आवे, राजन कौन तुम्हारे आवे, राजन कौन तुम्हारे आवे, राजन ऐसो भाव भीतर को देखे 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 ओ गरीब मोहे भावे ओ गरीब मोहे भावे कौन तुम्हारे आवे, राजन कौन तुम्हारे आवे, राजन कौन तुम्हारे आवे, राज हस्ती देख भरम ते फूला, हस्ती देख
परम ते फूला,
हस्ती देख भरम ते फूला, हस्ती देख भरम भगवान ना जाने श्री भगवान ना जाने श्री भगवान ना जाने श्री भगवान ना जाने तुमरो दूध बिदर को पानो तुमरो दूध बिदर को पानो तुमरो दूध बिदर को पानो अमृत कर्म माने अमृत कर्म माने अमृत कर्म माने अमृत कर्म माने कौन तुम्हारे आवे राजन कौन तुम्हारे आवे राजन कौन तुम्हारे आवे राजन ऐसो भाव बेघर को देखे 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 गरीब मोहे भावे ओ गरीब मोहे भावे कौन
मेरे धन गुरु हरगोबिंद साहिब जी सच्चे पातशाह Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Paatshah Ji is in Amritsar Sahib and 130-ish miles away in Kashmir is Sangat of Guru Nanak. Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah Ji sent Gursikhs there to spread Guru Nanak Paatshah Ji's wisdom in Kashmir. But Sangat Ji, the route from, if you was to go from Amritsar to Kashmir, the route to go there is all mountainy. So it's a challenge, it's not easy to go there and travel. Today would be different. There's roads now carved out. You can drive. But Sangat Ji, not in those days. In those days, you would have had to walk through the actual mountains. There's Sangat there, there's somebody there called Ardaas, and he does Sangat, he gets the Sangat together, he makes day, brings the Sangat together, he does a lot of seva. Because he's young, he's been able to travel to Amritsar and get darshan of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. So then what he does is when he comes back to Kashmir, whatever he experienced, whatever bhajan, whatever wisdom he heard from Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, bhajan he heard, he would come back and share it with the Sangat in Kashmir. Sangat Ji, tell me now, sitting here, who enjoys the moment they get struck? There's a line in Gurbani, there's a line in a Keerat, in a shabad, a story that they hear, and they get really excited, and now they want to go and pass on that story, and they want to go and share that story with somebody else that they've heard about the Guru. Who does that? Obviously, you know I'm crazy about that. But I remember even when I was young, 16, 17 years old, I used to love sharing the Guru stories. No matter where I'd be sitting, even if I was on a bus, and I'd meet someone on a bus and I'd just start telling them Sakhi. I was very passionate, maybe a little too much back then, but even if somebody didn't want to hear the story, they're hearing the story. Is there any of those out there? Is there any of those, you know, they make sure they put the story on them? And Sangat Ji, he had this about him. He would go back and share stories. But there was somebody in particular that at this time was old and got struck. Har prem bani man marya aniyale aniya ram raje. When this person would hear these stories being told back to her, she was of an old age and she'd just be, she'd been struck. Sangat Ji, do you know what type of arrow an aniyala arrow is? Aniyala tir. Sangat Ji, aniyala tir is very specifically made with the point at the end slightly bent. It's in such a way that it's still got the straight edge and it's got this little other part that comes out slightly. So that when it pierces through someone and you pull that arrow out, it brings their insides out with the arrow. It's ruthless, this arrow is. She's been struck with that type of arrow of the Guru's words and the Guru's stories. And it was actually his own mother. When she heard the stories of kahaniyan, babaniyan kahaniyan, put saput karen, when she heard the stories of the Gurus, she was like, whoa, I need to meet this Guru. But how am I going to get there? I'm of old age. And I know, I think Sita was sharing with us that sometimes her grandmother says, I'm getting old now. I can't do all the things, all the seva that I want to do. But Sangat Ji, let me tell you the greatness of our Guru and the greatness of those that have got the Guru inside of their hearts are what they will do. Let me tell you about how this magical world actually works. She said, "Putt main milna aaya." And he said, "Maa hun tade kol ta pahada vichon lang nahi hona, you're not going to get through those mountains." She goes, "Guru nu ithe bula la." She goes, "Tell him to come here, tell the Guru to come here." He goes, "Aida maa, aida thodu hundi hai." Her name was Bhaagpari. Mai Bhaagpari. Bhag means fortune. Pari means filled with fortune. Kendi mera putt dekh la, mera naam Bhaagpari a, par halle kendi mera nahi khayal puri taur te mere bhag jage. I've still not been able to live out my name until I don't get to see the Guru that you tell me about. She goes, "Ithe bula la unnu." She goes, he's like, "Mom, it doesn't work like that." I'm sure you've had some of these conversations. You're trying to tell your kids something and the kids are not growing. They're like, "No, Mom, it doesn't work like that." Any parents experience that with their kids? And they're getting a bit embarrassed and they're like, "Nahi, oh God, ekda thoda hundi hai." He goes, "Mom, he's a general. He's 6'7". He wears these 2 swords. He wears this royal blue attire. They sing about him, do talwari baddiyan, ek meeri di, ek piri di, ek azmat di, ek raj di, ek rakhi kare, o waziri di. They sing about him, o pag tere ki Jahangir di. They say, "Oh Jahangir, your turban's nothing. Look at the turban, the royal turban of our Guru." The Tadis, Abdullah and Natha Mal sang this, and we've still got their words today. They were doing Guru Sahib Ji's darshan and they said, "Kede do talwari baddiyan, look at you with your 2 swords. Ek azmat di, look at your grandeur, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji, Paatshah Ji. Ek azmat di, ek rakhi kare waziri di, look at you, the one that looks after those that nobody looks towards." And then they went on to say, in that same tadi, they said, "Look at your arms are as big as a fortress wall. That's how strong you are." Sangat Ji, you can't even imagine the size and the darshan of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. Our Mahaprabhu would say to us, "Kede aida chaur karya karo Guru Granth Sahib Ji de utte, jive Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji utte baithe hunde a. 6 foot 7 da kede kad a sade Guru da." Oh Sangat Ji, kenda "Ma, he's got an army." Kende "Ma, that the Gurus, since Guru Nanak Dev Ji haven't travelled out to Kashmir. Guru Nanak Dev Ji came here, but Guru Arjan Dev Ji didn't travel anywhere. Guru Ardas Ji went to certain places like Hardwar, they never came to Kashmir. How me, this little guy, this random guy, I can't rock up there and say, "Yo, my mom's calling here." ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਪੁੱਤ ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਰਨਾ ਜਦ ਤੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੇ. I'm not dying until I don't get darshan. She went out, Sangat Ji, there weren't Amazon back then. She couldn't just press a button and order a nice piece of clothing for Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. You know, all you Amazon junkies out there, not saying any names, but I know there's a next junkie in that Darbar Sahib as well. You know who you are. So you just click a few buttons and there you go, and it turns up to the house. But Mata Bhaagpari Sangat Ji, she goes out to the shop and she goes and gathers some cotton. And Sangat Ji, that cotton yet is still to be cleaned because it's just been taken from the plants. She comes home, she's old, she starts to clean and take out all the dirt from the cotton. And then Sangat Ji, unhone oh safed kapa, cotton is kapa, kapa no fe suteya. Suteya means she starts to twist it and make it into very thin. Taga, tage nu ki kende hai? Huh? Thread. And then she makes it into a thread herself. And then she gets her spinning wheel. And she starts to then make material out of this cotton that she has prepared herself. Kapda tiyar kita. Sangat ji, she gets this beautiful cotton ready. Chonki tiyar kiti. She gets a little stool made. Sangat, she goes out and finds sandalwood, actual bark, and from the sandalwood tree she goes and gets some. Sandalwood unu ragdaya. She then takes out the juice, the fragrance from the sandalwood, and puts the fragrance on the sheet of cloth, on the cotton. She gets this stool. She then goes and gets fresh flowers and puts fresh flowers out on this stool every day. And Sangat ji, let me tell you, you know how Guru Arjan Dev Ji said, Har Aradhana Janare, I don't know how to meditate. I just say, Guru Raamdas. I just call out Guru Raamdas. Ek Ardaas, Bhaat Keerat ki, Guru Raamdas. Rakhu, Sarnaaee. Let's sing these words. I don't know. Sorry, Raj, I'm going to put you on the spot. Ek Ardaas, just sing these, just this line. Ek Ardaas Bhaat Keerat ki, Guru Raamdas, Rakhu, Sarnaaee. So she doesn't know what she's doing. She's not been taught. Oh, padhiye.
एक अरदास पाठ कीरत की, 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 पाठ कीरत की,
every day she brings fresh flowers and she decorates this stool. And then Sangat Ji, she put that cloth on that stool and she took that to be her crying out and calling Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. She just sat there and called Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. And Sangat Ji, the problem with many of us is consistency. We start something, we stop something. We think it's not working and then we stop and then we start again and then no, it's not working, no, it's not happening, it's not going to work. She did this for months and months and years. It started to pass. Every day fresh flowers put on that stool, put out the cloth again, the cotton. She'd sit there with her hands folded together and she'd just be crying out, Nanaka, Priyo, Priyo, Kar Pukare. She just cried out, Tan Guru Hargobind Sahib, Tan Guru Hargobind Sahib. Sangat Ji, after years going by, she can't walk anymore. Her vision has now lessened, she can barely see. And now she's crying, she's still doing this every day. And she's saying, Kendi Putra, oh auga jarur. The whole Kashmir is saying she's gone mad. Bhaagpari's gone mad. Tell her we'll take the cloth for her to Guru Hargobind Sahib. Sangat Ji, one day she's crying, she falls to the ground. She says, Patani, Jaan kinni reh gaya, I don't know how much life I've got left inside of me. She's just worshipping this cloth, looking at this cloth and crying out, Guru Hargobind Sahib Patsha. Maharaj in Amritsar Sahib, going through many battles. 4 battles Maharaj Ji fought. Maharaj Ji all of a sudden get on their horse. And she's saying, she's crying, she's saying, Priyo, Priyo. She's crying out, Hon ta aajo. Aajo hone. Sangat Ji, Maharaj Ji start to travel towards Kashmir. Going through the mountains of Kashmir, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Sache Patsha, on their horse with their Gursikhs, with their armies riding with them. They go through and they meet many Gursikhs. That was the time they went and saved and picked up Sutre Shah from the mountains of Kashmir. That was the place where they went and met their beloved Gursikh Kattu Shah. They went through these mountains and they've gone to the house outside of the house of Mai Bhaagpari. They are on their horse. Maharaj Ji knocks their door themselves. Her son comes outside. Say, Maharaj, tusi aa gaye. Kende assi kya si maa tu pagal hai. We told her that she's mad. Kende Maharaj andar aao. Maharaj goes and sits inside and sits on their manji. And Sangat Ji, can you imagine that moment when the son walks across after all of these years and he said, Ma, oh aa gaya. Ma, Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji aa gaya Ma. ਕਹਿੰਦੀ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਹਿਨशाह ਦੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਨशाह, ਉਹ ਮੇਰੀ ਪੀਰੀ ਦੇ ਮਾਲਕ, ਉਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਹਰਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਮੰਜੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ. The Guru sitting on our manja in our house. ਉਹ ਤੇਰੀ ਪੁਕਾਰ ਸੁਣੀ ਮਾਂ, ਤੂੰ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਨਾਨਕਾ ਪ੍ਰਿਓ ਪ੍ਰਿਓ ਕਰ ਪੁਕਾਰੇ, ਕਬਹੂ ਕੇ ਸੁਣੇ ਪੁਕਾਰ, रात दिवस के कूकने, कबीर कैसो कैसो कूकिए ना सोइए आसार रात दिवस के कूकने कब हूं के सुने पुकार संग जी don't give up वो आंदा जरूर है पता नहीं केड़े रूप में उन्हें आ जाना संग जी when I say that I'm even saying don't give up coming here ताडे कोई ਵੱਡੇ ਭਾਗ ਆ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਗਏ ਇੱਥੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਤਾਂ ਸੰਗਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਰੀ ਜਸ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਕੀਤਾ How many of you sitting here may have questioned today shall I go shall I not How many of you thought put your hands up if that thought crossed your mind what should we go How many of you here came after a long time and it was difficult then to come There was that barrier that needed to be broken. The Guru got you here. Sangaji, you keep calling, crying from inside. The Guru will keep turning up for you. She goes and falls at the feet of Guru Hargobind Sahib. Kende maa, main ta tera kapda lena aaya ha. They said, oh mother, I've come to get that cloth, that cotton piece of cloth that you've gotten ready for me. Kende dena nahi maa? Kende ਪਿਆਸ ਲੱਗੀ ਪਾਣੀ ਪਿਲਾ ਦੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਥਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ. She brings water for Guru Hargobind Sahib. Kende ਮਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਬੈ. Keep your hands on this cup as I drink this. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਪਾਣੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਹੈ said is it water or is it ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇੰਨੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਕਦੀ ਪੀਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਜਾ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੀਤਾ ਜੋ ਪਾਣੀ I've not drunk water like this before ਇਹ ਹੋ ਜਾ ਪਾਣੀ she got and called the tailor And he's there measuring 6'7" Guru Hargobind Sahib. Probably got a ladder. Sangat ji, from what I've read, the research that's been done by Professor Sahib Singh, I heard from Giani Kulwant Singh, 50-inch wide chest. Sangat ji, we're normally, sorry Bobby, we're probably about 45 at a push all the way round. You know, 20 minutes on one horse, that horse would get tired and Guru Arjan Sahib would have to jump on the next one. This tailor's probably getting tired measuring their chest. Oh, mok gayi ho. Kende bas maa main tera chola paun aaya ithe. I've come to wear your chola. ਉਹਨੇ ਪਵਾਇਆ got it sewn she sat by the darji and she was saying nahi ita this is what Kavi Santokh Singh writes she didn't leave the tailor alone no like this no like that fresh flowers every day at that old age on a little stool she was worshipping that cloth And she didn't say the word Vaheguru, she said nothing else. All she said was, Tan Guru Hargobind Sahib, aajos mere kare. Come to my house, Guru Hargobind Sahib. Sangat ji, let's do Ardaas. Tu jeve dubde a pathran nu tarda. Sanu vi ove hi taru. ਸਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਬੇੜਾ ਪਾਰ ਕਰੀ you take my boat as well and take it across because I don't know what I'm doing I'm a fool just ਇਹ ਡੁੱਬਦੇ ਆ ਪੱਥਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾੜਨ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਸਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਬੇੜਾ ਪਾਰ ਕਰੀ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਹਰਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਡੁੱਬਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਪੱਥਰ ਆ with these stones that are drowning just come I I cannot do it with what I think is going to get me there. Please come and lift this stone and get me across. Let's sing this, Sangat ji.
ਡੁੱਬਦੇ ਪੱਥਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਰਨ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਸਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਬੇੜਾ ਪਾਰ ਕਰੀ ਡੁੱਬਦੇ ਪੱਥਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਰਨ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਸਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਬੇੜਾ ਪਾਰ ਕਰੀ ਡੁੱਬਦੇ
ਪੱਥਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਰਨ ਵਾਲਿਆ
ਸਾਡਾ ਵੀ ਬੇੜਾ ਪਾਰ
Sakhi Sahib Ji, Badshah Ji, stayed on in Kashmir. A few weeks went by. Maharaj Ji went out to the jungles and they started collecting wood. They collected wood and they went to the house of Mai Bhaagpari, and the Sangat said, Ma, Guru Sahib, why are you taking wood there? They said that her time has come to breathe her last. Maharaj collected wood for her themselves. And Sangat Ji, you know, when you give yourself to the Guru, really give yourself to the Guru, when you need lifting, the Sangat will be there. The Sangat is there. Just open your heart to them. The Sangat is there. Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji came inside. She came and put her matha, her forehead, on Guru Sahib Ji's feet. And then she didn't lift her head again. She breathed her last in the feet of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji. Badshah Ji did her funeral themselves. Now that's how you call the Guru. The Guru that in the midst of fighting battles comes and goes through the mountains. This is how we've got to call Vaheguru. This is how we've got to call Guru. So Sangat Ji, let's sing whatever Rajan's going to sing, and do Smarpti, and we'll do Anand Sahib. And come to the Diwan next month, bring more Sangat. Sangat Ji, I know it's hard, but you know when you truly just immerse yourself, Sara kuch bhul janda hai. All your pains, the heat, everything, it's all gone. So Sangat Ji, continue coming, continue singing. That's all we need to do. Let's keep singing, keep calling. Oh, Smarpti kar lijiye.
गोविंद भगत दा भुखा गोविंद भगत दा भुखा गोविंद भगत दा भुखा Sabna de भोले भगवान जी हस भोले भगवान जी हस भोले भगवान जी हस भोले भगवान जी सुनियो राजा होए सन्मुखा सुनियो राजा होए सन्मुखा तेरे पाओ नाथ सही तेरे पाओ नाथ सही मेरे नाही आपदा दुखा मेरे नाही आपदा दुखा गोविंद का भगत का दुखा गोविंद का भगत का राजन कौन तुम्हारे ऐसो पाओ बिदर को देखे ऐसो बिदर को देखे हो गरीब मोहे पावे ओ गरीब मोहे पावे कौन तुम्हारे आवे राजन कौन तुम्हारे आवे राजन कौन तुम्हारे आवे राम कलिमाला तीजा अनंत ओंकार सतगुर प्रसाद आनंद पया मेरी माए सतगुरु मैं पाया सतगुर का पाया सहज सेठी मन गठिया बधाया राग रतन परवार पैया शब्द का बनाया शब्द को तबा बोलाई के रामान जी बसाया कहे नानक नाम सके